Right, I'm going to build myself some Attilan riders. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting build in the sense that I'm going to have to build the sergeant individually. Although there's a few like kind of choices, I suppose would be the easiest way to describe how these bits go together. The result of that is you literally have to spread yourself out across all the different kits. So I'm going to start off by showing you how to build the sergeant. I think it is sergeant anyway, but basically we're going to have to just use the entire different sprue, so this is going to be a long process. There's no other way to put it, unfortunately. It's going to be a bit of a pain to put this together, no doubt about it. I think this is going to be one of the more long-winded builds. Okay, so that said, what I've done is to help me track things, I've painted them in green. Hopefully that'll speed me up and make it easier to follow what I'm doing. Right, let's start out then. So I'm going to begin by getting parts 17 and 18 out, which is over here. And you can see, like, for anyone who's ever put together a horse from Games Workshop, you probably know that actually the older style horses that they used to have were really easy to build. You just kind of put the two halves together and away you go. And of course, these being newer ones, well, of course, they're an absolute nightmare with more parts than needed. That's my personal opinion, and I believe that's the right thing to say. I don't believe it needs to be this many pieces. I have no doubt that the reason they do this, though, if someone who knows, you know, how plastic molding works better than I wants to chime in, but my personal opinion is they do it this complicated to make it harder to do recasts and create forgeries, basically. Which, you know, I can't really sort of criticize them on per se. I mean, you know, you're a company, you want to protect your intellectual property, but by the same logic, it is kind of irritating when there's this many parts and there doesn't need to be. One of the other problems I've got at the moment is I've lost the insert for my glue, so this is an absolute pain to actually apply glue at the moment for myself. No other way to put it. I'm having to be very, very gentle with how I'm squeezing my glue at the moment because I've lost a little insert. So what I'm kind of doing, that's not the part I wanted to use for this, kind of having to apply glue in a slightly more difficult way than I'm used to be quite honest. Okay. And then get the horse's head out. Yeah, I have to admit the Warhammer Old World Cavalry is so much easier to put together than this stuff. But you know what? It doesn't look as good, to be quite honest. Finish up tidying these little bits up, yeah. But I have to admit, I mean, like, it is rather cool looking. These are really nice looking horses. Yeah, there we go. Need to put a bit more. There we go. I mean, as you probably can see right away, they are nice cavalry. They're quite a big horse as well. Right, number 16. Now, is this one of these little tiny annoying bits? Yeah, it is. It's over here. See what I mean about, like, did they really need to put the horse's ears all the way over there? I remember the old Rough Rider models that they used to have. They just used like the light cavalry from the old world, if memory serves. Yeah, which isn't as good and doesn't look quite as futuristic as you would want them to be. Yeah. Whereas these obviously look like futuristic cavalry. It's where you want to go with them. Okay, now we've got to put together our next side. 19, 20 and 21. See what I mean? You just have to feel like this is overkill on the number of parts on this, to be quite honest. Now, this tiny little part 20. Now this is why I mapped everything out before, so that it was easier to find parts. So it's over here. It's kind of like this little foot on a different sprue. Again, it's just weird little things like that where it's like, if you need to put the foot like separate, did it really need that? You got quite a few of those little 20 parts as well. Lovely models though, I really do like these ones. Weird thing is, other than a Rogel Dawn battle tank, I don't really have that much new Astra Militarum stuff. In fact, I don't have that much old Astra Militarum stuff. I've got some Death Corps, which of course are from Forge World. But I have to admit, it's nice to actually get hold of some of these new kits. And this in particular doesn't come with Combat Patrol to my knowledge, which means that I'm really happy to have them. So thank you for my beloved mum for this Christmas present. Now, it feels weird to have this random foot that isn't directly connected to anything. Just like, surely that could have been moulded into the model. I mean, surely that doesn't make a massive difference. Maybe it's just me overthinking things some days. Right. I'm having a really bad day today with my health condition flaring up. My hands are feeling numb. I wanted to paint before, and unfortunately, as I was trying to paint, it's like my hands aren't swollen up, but it's so strange. It's like my hands feel like they've swollen up, even though they have not actually swollen up. very strange, unusual health condition, fibromyalgia. There's probably a reason why some people don't even believe it's a real condition. It's just chronic pain. Anyway, yeah, moaning, aren't I? But I need to moan when I'm having a bad day. Makes me feel better. Right. Nothing like a good moan, eh? Okay. Now it's time. What I need to do is I need to put together a body. So I've picked out body here, 63 and 64. Let me just pop these out. You'll notice that the 63 is the standard kind of template almost for the body plan, with the front basically going on any of them. Now, I have to admit, I am really pleased that these bodies have been done like this, because I can see how easy it would be to get a different, basically get a different body from somewhere, get a different head, and really, you know, do something unique with them. I think it wouldn't take that much work with a bit of green stuff and a bit of modelling putty to actually turn these into Attilan Desert Raiders. To be quite honest about it, I don't think it would need that much work either to turn them into, say, Praetorians. It's not something that I'm going to do because I really want to build these as is, but part of me feels like in the future I will get some of these just to try and sculpt my own approach to them. Right, okay, I think now we are back over, gosh, it's back over on this one to take out 22, which is this lasgun. Now, if you are better at painting things in parts, you might not want to put this on yet. However, I personally think that with all the details that are already on here, it's going to make very little difference if you attach these. It's also part of the cloak is on this gun, so it does kind of need putting on there. Right. Now we need to go for 23 and 24, which is this part here. And 24 is crop. Oh, I don't think it is a crop, it's a bridle, is it called? If you are a keen equestrian lover, and I am using terrible terminology for any part of this model as I build it, please, you know, be kind and not attack my character in the comments for not knowing my equestrian terminology. I mean, for a newer kit, they're not the worst build I've ever come across as far as working out where to put things. I'm not really looking at the instructions that much other than to check the numbers. Now, so let's just double check how this all goes in. So it feels like, yeah, that part. So basically we've got to get this hooked into there, this to come down like so, and then, so strange because it then feels like that needs to, it feels like you have to kind of bend some of these plate pieces slightly as you go. So let's see how this goes in here. So that, and then that needs to attach into there. This part needs to sit in there neatly. You can definitely feel this bending slightly as you push it in. I think the other thing is how high up the shoulder blade goes. The other thing is that I'm noticing, and I can see it right here, is this little bit. Just making sure that that wraps under properly. And attaches to the correct point, which is just underneath the hand, like so. Okay, now we've got to put ourselves together a sword arm. So let me find, let's get this right. So number 28, which is over here. Number 27, which looks like the sergeant pit, well, sergeant chevrons. What else have we got here? And we also need number 29, which is the shaft of the lance. But then we also need number 13. Now I think you've got some options here as well, so you don't have to use a number 13 which has the lance head. There's different ones you can use. This is a kind of grenade head, but I think there is a kind of like an it looks like some kind of honestly, looking at the, I don't know, this is like an explosive charge, but this looks like something else entirely. I'll work that out later, eh? Okay. Well, let's start then by just tidying these up. I can get them all to go together. got to watch out with these bits because they're so easy to break. If you put the pressure in the wrong place, you'll just damage them. But you've got to get them cleaned up as well, and so that means putting a bit of pressure down sometimes. Okay, right, let's get this guy's arm attached then. I think so I need to go get a new glue pot, I think. I've got a minute. There you go. Okay, now this then attaches to here. Now the question is how. I think I get that. Okay, so basically, got a little notch in there. You got a little notch at the bottom of the arm. So what we need to do. I've just realised that this is, oddly enough, a better way for applying glue. Even though it's taking longer, the excess glue ends up on there. The spatula, well, the texturing brush, then on the model said it's a slower process, but seems actually to be a better approach. I don't know why I didn't do this ages ago. I got a bit more control. Yeah. Should have started doing this ages ago. Now, I want this to go now. It's how we want this to sit now. So up and then with the lance falling slightly backwards. There we go. Nice. Okay. Now let's find other little tiny pieces like number 74. So basically it's over on one of the other sprues, the sprue with the body, and you got to get yourself 74 out. Okay, this seems, no, where does this one go? Right, that goes across the front of the chest. Like so. Now what I might need to do is, if I'd planned ahead, I would have noticed that. I just noticed something, like this looks like they're wearing a little tie that's then attached to the gun belt. And it's little details like that that I love when looking into a model. Right, Over on the body sprue, get ourselves out 103, which is this head, or this plume. And then we need to find the sergeant's face, which is 102. Now, do I recall this being somewhere else? I'm sure I picked it out before. Yeah, I knew it was. So it's on a completely different sprue, just to drive us all completely crazy, so that we have to go looking for things. Right, let's see now. Let's get this head in. Here. I think we're almost done. I think now all we need to do is get ourselves the sword sheath. There we go. Now, if you've chosen him to be holding his sword, you use sheath number 30. However, if you've picked the sword, if you've chosen to have him holding a lance, you use number 31 here, because his sword is then sheathed. So just make sure you're picking the right one. This goes on this side. Now, it feels like it goes here behind this, but I'm just making sure now. Just trying to make sure that I'm putting it in the right place, because it feels like it does go behind here, but it's picking the height more than anything. It doesn't feel, it just doesn't feel right, but it seems that that is how it is. It goes, just doesn't feel like it's clicking in. But sometimes you just don't know until you try. Normally there's like a very clear feeling that it's holding on to something. So it's trying to work out how up or low down it goes. I think I'm putting it too low. I think that's why it's not feeling right. There we go. No, that still doesn't feel right. It feels right like that, because if you look, there's like two straps there, so it feels like it should have those two straps between the thick one there. However, when I'm looking at how it's been put on in the instructions, it suggests that this goes a lot higher up, like up here, but then it doesn't kind of naturally sit at this, you know. Basically, this is my opinion. You've got these two straps. Now, it feels like those two straps would more naturally sit across that there. However, if you look at the instructions, it seems to be a lot higher up like that. It just feels like those straps then are far too high to... Basically, it just doesn't feel like it's in the right place. Whereas that does, because it's like naturally held onto the straps then. Right. Okay, we then need to just put our guy on a base. One of these lovely oval bases as well. And there we have it. That is our Rough Rider Sergeant. Which looks cool, though I am 100% certain that this is going to be a terrible chore to paint, even though it looks amazing. So there we go, that's Rough Rider Sergeant. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.